Hi guys, Determined Gardener here. Hydrangeas are beautiful plants, but what if your hydrangea looks like this with a bunch of sticks poking out? What should you do? Should you cut it? Should you just leave it? In this video, I'm going to show you what to do and what's the benefits of leaving the sticks and cutting the sticks. Let's get to it. Now, if your hydrangea looks like this, they are setting their buds. That means that there are new growth growing from the ground. Now, this is what's a mophead hydrangea, and this grows on what's called old wood. Sometimes during the cold weather, especially in the colder climates where I am in 7B and below, the buds fall off or freeze. That's an example right there. That bud is not good. So that bud is not going to grow. And mophead hydrangeas grow on old wood. So if you see your hydrangea look like this, examine the stems. Look to see if there are any buds coming out. If there's any buds coming out, that means you should not cut the branches. But if it looks like this, all shriveled up and sad, you can cut away. How much to cut? Well, you have to go down the branch and see if all the buds are dead. And if all the buds are dead along this branch, you can cut all the way down. Just make sure you examine to make sure that there are no viable buds. Because if you just start cutting away, what you will be doing is cutting away the blooms for this season. Because remember, hydrangeas grow on what's called old wood. Mophead hydrangeas grow on old wood. If you have a limelight hydrangea, and those are the football shaped hydrangeas, that grows on new wood, and that is more beginner friendly. This is another example of a hydrangea. You can see lots of sticks growing from the hydrangea, and that was from the previous season. But you can see right here, there's a bloom right there. So you would not cut that, right? Because if you cut below here, you're going to cut the bloom. So you would cut up here because there's nothing there. There's nothing viable. You can see all these buds that are damaged. And what happens, unfortunately, when we live in these colder climates, it's great to live in these cold climates because some other plants need them. But unfortunately, if you do not protect your hydrangea and the frost and the freeze and the warm and the frost and the freeze during the winter and spring, that's what happens. So if you have buds like this, don't beat yourself up. Unfortunately, just sometimes that happens. But you can see all of this looks dead, but it's not, because right here above it is blooming right there. You can see the hydrangea bud right there. But unfortunately, something like this is not going to come back. It's just not going to come back. It just is just too far gone. Sometimes hard to tell whether it's going to bounce back. You can see right there that almost looks dead, but it's popping out. So the best thing to do to make sure, to be 100% sure that you do not cut the blooms, just leave it alone. Wait until next month. It's going to be June soon, and you will see what buds are viable, what buds are not viable. Because right here, I would have cut right there, and that is a bloom that I would have cut. So the best thing to do, if you want to make sure that your hydrangea blooms, and you want to make sure that you don't cut the blooms off for this season, just leave it alone. It doesn't look great. It doesn't look that appealing. You just want to make sure that you just don't cut off any viable blooms for this season. This is an example of a limelight hydrangea. This is a little lime, and you can see the stems are a lot thinner. Can cut away, but just don't go too severe now, because you don't want to cut too much where it will take longer for it to bloom during the season. Now, what if your hydrangea looks like this? Well, if there's no growth and you don't see any buds on this hydrangea, you guessed it. This hydrangea has passed away. It's gone on to a better place. And sometimes that happens. And sometimes it's not anyone's fault. Sometimes plants just die. So don't beat yourself up. Make sure that the hydrangea is dead. I can pull the stem. Now, the stem is still very sturdy. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to wait to see if this hydrangea does bloom and if any hydrangea or any leaves comes up from the ground, because again, it's in a shaded area, so it may just need a little bit of time. But if you pull your hydrangea and it comes out very easily, that means it's dead. You can also do the scratch test, right? So if you see any green there, that might also indicate that it's still alive. But again, remember, this is old wood, so you're not going to see too much green on old wood, even though it may be still alive. This is another example. See, all that old wood may think that it's dead and oh my God, something's wrong with my hydrangea, but just look at it. Right there, it's setting its blooms and it's about to burst in the next couple of weeks. So if you have your hydrangea in pots, that's a good way to tell. Just if it's green, then your hydrangea is still alive. Now you may be asking yourself, why does her hydrangea look so bad? It's not the fact that it's bad. Let me tell you a secret. The reason why you think that these hydrangeas may look bad is because lots of stores, and I mean many stores, put hydrangeas out early. Many stores force hydrangeas to grow and blossom early. This is what a hydrangea looks like if you are in a zone 7 and below. Now, if you are in a zone higher, 8, 9, and 10, your hydrangea is thriving. Your hydrangea probably started thriving back in early April. But in the cooler zones, hydrangeas are just starting to wake up. And that's where the problem lies sometimes, because lots of times people buy hydrangeas in stores that are fully bloomed. We're talking about the mop head variety. They bring them home, they keep them in pots, and then all of a sudden the hydrangea starts to look sad, they start to wilt, and sometimes they even change color. They change from pink and blue to this greenish gray color, and you're wondering what happened. It's not because anything you did wrong, it's because your hydrangea was forced to bloom early. So the takeaway is that if you are in a cooler zone, you really should try to avoid buying hydrangeas in May or April. Definitely not in April. You should kind of really wait until late May or early June. That way you know the hydrangea was not forced to bloom early and you're getting a hydrangea that is actually in season, that's supposed to be blooming in season. If you do purchase a hydrangea in a pot, the best thing to do is to actually take it out of the pot and plant it in the ground. It's much more successful in the ground. It gets the nutrients from the ground, it gets the water from the ground, and you don't risk the problem of the pot drying out and your hydrangea getting too dry. Now, if you do get a hydrangea in a pot, you want to put it in a bigger pot. Those proven winner pots or the Monrovia pots, they're really too small for them. Hydrangeas have substantial roots, so if you leave them in the pot, they are not going to do well. Keep it in a pot and you don't have room in your garden, plant it in a bigger pot. I'm just going to show you my lilac bush. I love my lilac bush. It is so pretty, that light purple, and my irises. I have a bunch of irises. I just love this variety. This is a new kind that I got in my garden. And I love these lollipop alliums. They are cute. I also have them in purple and white. The spirea candy corn, you can see that spirea right there, just starting to bloom. I love this green lime color. Really big, nice, huge hosta. And I do really enjoy my coral bells also. And last but not least, my huge peony hedge. I have about 30 peonies in this hedge. I stake them. If you want to learn how to keep your peony upright and from breaking, you want to definitely check out that video. Guys, thank you so much for joining me here on my channel, The Determined Gardener. Don't forget to hit that sub button, like this video, and subscribe to my channel. I will be having much more gardening tips and hacks during the season. Keep on watching.